Refugees to be given the right to vote in Rainbow Unicorn Land, as well as prisoners with sentences under 12 months. And candidacy rights will be extended to foreign nationals with indefinite leave to remain and those with pre-settled status. Meaning, of course, somebody who is eligible to live in the country for 5 years. With pre-settled status, you can continue to live, work and study in the UK, although this permission is effectively limited to a period of 5 years from the date you are granted your status. If you would like to remain in the UK indefinitely, you would need to reapply under the scheme for settled status. The Scottish Parliament has voted to give refugees the right to vote in elections in Scotland. This is ridiculous. At what point do people draw the line with this garbage? This is insanity. Are we supposed to congratulate them and pat them in the back that they didn't go the whole hog and grant it to people who were claiming asylum but hadn't actually had their application granted? Oh, congratulations. A semblance of sanity here in Rainbow Unicorn Land. I know times have changed, and it seems that the governments do what the fuck they want, regardless of what the public say or do about it. But on paper, in theory, these people are supposed to serve the public. I don't recall the public giving this the green light. I don't recall the public saying this was acceptable. But oh no, they steamroll on ahead with it, regardless. What a load of bollocks. The Scottish Elections Franchise and Representation Bill will extend voting rights in all Scottish elections to foreign nationals with leave to remain. The vote was the first time in the history of the Parliament that a bill has passed after requiring a supermajority of 2/3 of MSPs. It passed by 92 votes to 27. The Scottish Refugee Council has called for asylum seekers to be allowed to vote and for refugees to be allowed to stand in elections. Is there any other country in the world where this shit happens? This is nonsensical. And it's not just a case of particular parties ensuring that they'll be re-elected time and time again. There's a bigger picture here, but you need to take a step back and realise it. What this effectively does, bit by bit, is grant everybody the same rights as native Scottish people while they simultaneously erode the idea of a native Scottish population, meaning anybody can come here and not just be as Scottish as we are apparently, but they're granted all the same rights, etc. Which whittles down our claim to this land. It whittles down the concept of a native population. So it's a bit more insidious than just ensuring that somebody gets re-elected time and time again, although that's bound to occur as of now. Anyway, by granting voting rights to all those who are lawfully resident in Scotland, and extending candidacy rights to those with indefinite leave to remain, this new law helps create a more welcoming and inclusive country where everyone is treated equally, no matter where they're from. This is just... Oh my days, man. This is a really significant moment. The right to vote is a crucial part of the broader spectrum of human rights. And whose human rights are being respected here? Whose human rights does this encompass? Because it seems all this human rights adaptations to our legal system, all this namby-pamby fucking pandering on the basis of human rights, it's not for our benefit, it's for everybody else's benefit. Fundamentally, everyone living here should have a say in how the country is run. It's our fucking country. It's not theirs. It is our country. You people make me... Cabinet Secretary for the Constitution, Europe and External Affairs, Michael Russell, said the bill is a historic piece of legislation. Historic because no other country has ever been stupid enough to do something like this. But of course, Rainbow Unicorn Land, they have to go the whole hog. It's an example of Scotland's ability to take the lead in making progress. Shove your progression up your arse, Michael Russell. Shove your fucking progression up your arse. Oh, we should be proud of this, should we? We should be proud of our progressive reforms that we're making. Progressive. Where are we progressing to, Michael boy? Hey, Mikey? It also reflects the reality of modern Scotland. Modern is synonymous with any point in history. You know? Just claiming that this is modern Scotland today. Modern Scotland would have been modern Scotland 100 years ago too. Just because we're in the present day and you slap modern in front of it doesn't justify what the fuck you're doing. This is nonsensical, but we know where it's coming from, of course. It's the United Nations, the tin pot parliament in Holyrood. pretending that they're getting on with a day job. Tell me, what policy have they ever passed? What piece of legislation have they ever passed that didn't have a UN rubber stamp on it? They can sit there all day long and blame Westminster. They can sit there all day long and brag about progression. But the reality of the matter is, they're a puppet Parliament, and all these parties are a fucking joke. It reflects the modern Scotland, a nation committed to robustly meeting our duties to the treaties that safeguard our human rights. That welcomes those who seek to join our society, and of course, this is going to entice many more over now. It's a fucking free-for-all. And gives a democratic voice to the most marginalised in our communities. Oh, go fuck yourself. EU and Commonwealth citizens already have the franchise, but it was critical that we recognise the enormous contribution of others in the Islamic world, of course. The extension is especially meaningful in the atmosphere of uncertainty surrounding the UK's government plans for the immigration system. But instead of instilling insecurity and fear, this government is using the powers that it has to send a message that Scotland is open, welcoming and home to all those who so choose. Oh my god, what? People didn't ask for this. What the fuck? The legislation also ensures that Scotland complies with the European Convention on Human Rights when it comes to the issue of prisoner voting by making provision for the franchise to be extended to those serving a custodial sentence of 12 months or less. Wow, man.